Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making these delicious individual chicken pot pies. This is one of my hubby's favorites that I make, so I wanted to make them for him tonight, as well as show you guys how to do it. Of course, the ingredients and measurements will be in the description box for you guys. So let's go make some chicken pot pies. Okay guys, so what I have here is 1 stick of butter. I have about 3 cloves of garlic diced. I have 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme. I have a half of an onion diced really small. I have a half of a cup of all-purpose flour. I have my cayenne pepper, olive oil, some chicken stock, salt and pepper. Over here I have 2 cups of heavy cream, because we're going to be doing 2 cups of heavy cream and 2 cups of chicken stock. I have a pot back here that I'm going to go ahead and turn on because I want this to start boiling, because what we're going to do is pre-cook our potatoes. And what I have here is 3 large potatoes diced, relatively small, because we're going to be putting them in the chicken pot pie. And then what I have here is just a chicken that I roasted and just diced up into small little pieces. And then over here I have just a small bag of peas and carrots. And all that's in here is just some water and some salt, because we're going to cook the potatoes just for about 5 minutes. What I have here is just a large Dutch oven that I'm going to be cooking everything in. I'm going to go ahead and put this on medium and get this nice and hot. What we're going to do is we're going to start sauteing the onions and garlic with some butter, and then we're going to put it together and make a roux. So to this, we're going to add our 1 stick of butter, which has gotten soft because I've had it sitting out. And once everything is prepped, it's really a very quick and easy recipe to put together for chicken pot pies. My family absolutely love them. And the fun part is that they're individual. So everybody gets their own little chicken pot pie. Alright, so I'm going to let this melt for a minute before we add our onions and garlic. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and add the onions. And I'm going to add the garlic. And we're going to just saute this just for a minute or two, just until the onions get translucent. And I know it seems a lot to put a whole stick of butter in here, but we're going to be making a roux, so that's why we have the half a cup of flour, so it'll all work out perfectly. Alright, and to this, I like to season it with just a little bit of salt and pepper, because we're going to be seasoning as we go. Alright guys, that looks perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the half a cup of flour. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and incorporate the flour. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook out this flour for just a couple of minutes to get any of the raw flour taste out. So we'll just go ahead and cook this down for a minute. And as this finishes cooking, the water is up to a boil, so we can go ahead and add our potatoes. And like I said, we're just going to cook these for just 5 minutes. Alexa, set a 5-minute timer.
5 minutes, starting now.
Alright, that looks great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our 2 cups of heavy cream. And we're going to add 2 cups of the chicken broth. Alright, and we're just going to incorporate all this with the flour. And this is going to come up to a high simmer. And it's going to start thickening. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk it real quick, just to get all the clumps out and make it nice and smooth. So just go ahead and whisk that really well. See how the clumps are gone? Just make sure you whisk it really well. We're going to go ahead and season this. That looks great. So we're going to do some salt and pepper to taste. And we'll taste it again for seasoning. We're going to add some red cayenne pepper. However much you guys want, just to give it a little kick. As you know, my family is a bunch of wimps, so I love spicy food, but I can't make anything really too spicy, but it gives it a nice little kick and flavor. So add however much you guys want. And then we're going to put in our 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme. Incorporate that really well. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this come up to a simmer and let it start thickening up before we start working on our next step. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes. Alexa off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drain the potatoes. Alright guys, this looks awesome. It's starting to come up to a nice simmer. It's starting to become thick. Exactly what we wanted. Alright, at this point what we're going to do is we're going to taste it for seasoning. So that we can season it, if need be, before we add everything else. That is so delicious, guys. I can't even tell you. And it smells amazing in here. Alright, I'm going to add just a touch more salt. And then everything else is perfect. Alright, at this point we're going to go ahead and put our chicken in. And this was probably 2 or 3 cups of the chicken. Like I said, I roasted a chicken and just chopped it up. Put that in there. You're going to put your frozen peas and carrots in there, which they're defrosted by now. And our potatoes. And they're perfect. They're just fork tender. Mix that really good. Combine everything. Doesn't it look so delicious? And look how nice and thick it is, guys. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cook just like this for 5 minutes. I'm going to lower this to just a medium. And I'm going to let this cook so it warms the chicken back up, finishes cooking the potatoes and the peas and the carrots. After 5 minutes, just go ahead and turn your stove off. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to let this cool while we start working on our puff pastries, which is the fun part. So I will meet you over there, guys, to start working on the puff pastries. Okay guys, what I have here is my little working board. I have some flour that we're going to be flouring the board because we're going to be using the puff pastry. And I have a rolling pin and then my guides. What I'm using to make each individual chicken pot pie is just some ramekins. And then what I have is a smaller ramekin that I'm going to be using to do the insides with, and I'll show you. And then what I have here is just 2 puff pastry sheets that I'm going to be rolling out and cutting them to fit the ramekins. So this is what we're going to do. Okay, so what I like to do is, my family loves a chicken pot pie that's got the crust on the bottom as well as the top. A lot of chicken pot pies don't, but we love it that way. So you could either skip this step. I've never heard of anybody complaining about double crust, the crust on the bottom, but if you want, you can go ahead and skip this step. If not, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do crust on the bottom, and then like I said, a crust on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and flour my board just so the puff pastry doesn't stick, so that we can roll it out. And you're going to take a puff pastry. Make sure it's room temperature, guys. Have it defrosted and thawed. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit on my rolling pin, just so it doesn't stick. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll the pastry out so that we can get some nice tops and bottoms. Actually, I'm going to stick a little damp paper towel under here so it prevents the board from moving. There we go. Alright, so just roll it out. Now we don't want it too thin. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the bottoms first to fit in the ramekins. So depending on how big your little casserole dishes are, or your pie, or your ramekins, or whatever you guys are using, just use that as a guide. So I'm going to be using the top as a guide for the top, and then I'm going to be using this little small one because it fit perfectly as the bottom crust. Now this side looks good. I'm just going to roll out this side a little bit. And as you know, I am not the best roller or cutter. I just make it work. I always say, as long as you make it with love, you're good to go. Alright. That looks good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little ramekin, and I'm going to make 4 little circles just like this. Just be careful you don't cut your little fingers. Okay, so that's my 4. I'm just going to put them on a dish and set it aside. Just putting a little flour on my dish so it doesn't stick. Alright, and I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to work on the next one for the tops. So again, flour your board, or whatever surface, whoops, you're using. That's a little too much. Sitting here playing with flour. Flour your rolling pin so that it doesn't stick. Alright, we're going to roll this one out. Now I'm going to stretch this one out just a little bit more because we're doing the top, so I have to, these are going to be bigger ramekins. Although I should be fine, I had plenty extra from the last set. It should be good enough. So I'm going to see if I can get 4. Yeah, I can get 4. So now these you want to make just a little bigger, maybe a ½ inch bigger than the top of the ramekin, so that we can use that as a little lip for the bowl. So it'll have something to stick to on the rim of the bowl. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so here's my tops. So it doesn't stick. You see how easy that was, guys? And it's fun to play with the flour. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up this mess and show you the next step. Okay guys, so what I have here is my ramekins that I'm using and the puff pastries we just did. I have some egg wash, and all this is 1 egg and a little bit of water, just whisked up really quick. And then over here I have this deliciousness that we made, the filling for the chicken pot pie. Doesn't that look delicious? Smells really, really good. Okay, so what you want to do before we start this is preheat your oven to 400 degrees. And this is going to take maybe 15, depending on your oven, to cook, because this is all cooked. We just have to cook the puff pastry. Okay, what I like to do is just put a drop of olive oil in the bottom of the ramekins. Just grease the ramekins really quick, because what we're going to do is we're going to cook the bottoms of the puff pastries for about 5 minutes prior to us filling. And what this is going to do is it's going to prevent the bottoms from sticking. Okay? So once you've greased your little ramekins or whatever you're using, just take your bottom crust and just put it right in the bottoms of your ramekins. Just like that. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to cook these for 5 minutes before we fill them and finish them up. So we'll be back in 5 minutes, guys, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so I cooked mine for 5 minutes. So this is how we're going to finish them off and assemble them. So you're going to take your ramekin, be careful they're hot, and you're just going to put your pot pie filling in it. And you want to fill them up. That looks about right. Okay, and then you're just going to take a little bit of your egg wash. Just a little bit. And you're just going to dab the edges and just brush it. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, but you just want it to be able to stick. And you're going to take your top, put it on just like that, and just kind of stick it to the egg wash that we just did on the rim. You're going to take a little bit more of your egg wash and brush the sides and the tops of the puff pastry. And what this is going to do is it's going to make it a nice brown crispy crust. Just like that. Alright, and then this is very important. We're going to make some slits in the top so that the steam can escape in the puff pastry. So just make sure it's punctured all the way through. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and we're going to put them in the oven again, 400 degrees, and we'll check them between 12 and 15 minutes. It should only take about 15 minutes, so we'll be back, guys. Okay guys, so mine were in the oven for exactly 15 minutes, and look how beautiful these look, guys. The tops are nice, golden brown, very crispy. They look and smell absolutely delicious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these cool off for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to go ahead and open one for you guys and show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and open one for you guys. So the crust is nice and crispy and golden brown, as you can see. And it smells so good in here, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the goodness inside. Look at that, guys. And the best part is there's crust on the bottom of this. So I'm going to taste a little bit for you guys. It's going to be really hot. But you guys are worth it, so I just want a little bit of everything. Alright, so I'm going to let this cool off just for a second so I don't burn my mouth. Alright, here we go. Wow. Guys, this is so good. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. Let me know in the comments if you do. Always love to hear back from you guys. This is an easy, delicious recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I always love making them for you guys. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.